our public sector projects, the amount that we're going to invest in public sector infrastructure, not just digital infrastructure, but all infrastructure here in Ireland. We talked a little bit about the grid, but you have your rail, you have your metros, all of this stuff. Yeah. How do we balance that scale then if all our tier ones are busy diversifying across Europe and we need to then double down on what we're building here?
Well, one thing that in my experience in my life is, whether it's a personal relationship or business relationship, is you need to actually have certainty on time. Because time certainty is something that you only really understand that when you've been through a full investment cycle. And many of your listeners are in finance space, and you get a credit committee and they say, right, there's X amount of millions, spend it by X or it's gone, or it's going to cost you more. And I think that sometimes that's missed by people in the system, that, oh, sure, if they don't do it in the next 10 years, they'll come back in 10 years' time. I have found, and we'll go back to the Apple time, that's a decade, that's a whole decade, that's a whole cycle where, again, looking at history, if you learn anything from what you said about electricity, water, etc., there are 4 basic phases that society goes through in rapid change towards anything, any change agent. First, they ignore it and hope it goes away. Then they fight it and again hope it goes away. Then they take it as their idea. And then the 4th phase is, sure, wasn't it always self-evident?
Yeah.
Isn't that what we meant all the time?
Yeah.
So if you look at electricity or steam or any of these industry, and we have to say it, that data is the equivalent catalyst for a new innovation age, in the same way as steam was,
absolutely,
as electricity. And when we think that way, then you say, oh, there's no jobs in the centres. Then I say, come on, I'll bring you up to Roundwood, to the reservoir, and I'll show you, because you know what water can give you. You know what water can do. You know the jobs that it can create in economy. You know that it saves babies. You know that it helps hot coffee. But you have a knowledge of water. So when you look at that, you'll say, oh, there's no jobs. But. So when I bring people to data centres and they say, oh, that's great after it's built, but there's nobody working here. Let me explain. That data that's in that centre is now running a full body scan in a hospital. That data that's in that centre is sending Revolut, whatever.
It's your banking, it's your entire backbone of your society.
It's your entire backbone.
It is now,
Until the time that becomes everybody is self-aware, you'll always then have, but what about? But what about? In Ireland, we seem to have got ourselves into a situation where we absolutely know what the solutions are. We absolutely see it every day. Even the instruments of the state, EirGrid, ESB, Board Cash, they know what needs to be done. Everyone knows what to be done. But we don't seem to have that certainty on decision, on time. Yes, let's do it. Let's do it by that date. And I certainly, after a decade of watching different parts of that mosaic move around, I don't know, as I sit here with you, what can give us that bar such decisiveness among the government to say these are executive orders.
Yeah.
We don't work well in that space.
No, and I don't think anybody would put their head in the block and take that responsibility, would they?
I don't think so. So therefore, where does that leave us? You nearly want, we do tend to be quite good when there's an event, so I don't want to put the hex in it, but a couple of bad quarters of corporation tax.
Yeah.
2 or 3 quarters of bad corporation tax.
Look, all of that's inevitability. Everything is cyclical,
And does that give it that, what if that went on for 4 bad quarters?
Yeah.
What do we do then? Because there's just no doubt that we need, to your point, and I think you make a great point actually, sometimes, because everybody needs a boogeyman. Every change needs a boogeyman. Manchester United needed Man City as the noisy neighbours because their own team were, everybody needs like God and devil and all this.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's nearly an easy get out of jail card in certain quarters, data centres. But could we be sitting here, or could you have a guest talking about offshore wind? I guess you could. Talked about it for 20 odd years.
Yeah, we're still talking about it.
Could you have a guest here talking about houses? I guess. Could you have one for water? I'm nearly saying that you could have that same discussion with any of those
major services
infrastructure, I guess.
Yeah.
And they'd all come back scratching their heads. We know what we have to do, but we just wish the people that have the pulleys and levers would do it. And then maybe it's passing on to your area there, where you're saying is, 2 years to next general election. Whereas my suggestion, having met people in other jurisdictions, I can't speak directly for Denmark, but for France, for instance, they actually have infrastructure as a totally different thing, which isn't tied at all to the terms of the current government. They take things in 15-year rolling.
Yeah.
15-year rolling.
You have to disassociate it and disconnect it. Otherwise, it'll always be short-sighted, cycle political views. It will always be that.
It seems that way.
Yeah.
It seems that way. And as I say, I know from speaking to some people that France is slightly socialist in its...
Yeah, it's similar to Denmark, yeah.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, maybe we're getting there.
And that's kind of why Denmark governments take on the previous strategies and develop them. So Copenhagen, for example, in the 70s developed something called the finger strategy, where this was going to be the development plans. The center was the palm and the fingers were the development plan, and all kind of networks of rail and housing and that was picked up and carried and is still being carried today.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the seven.
But that's that certainty.
Yeah.
That's that certainty that one.
And it's a societal good. That's the thing about it. It's done for. It's not the political piece. It's this is strategy for society. This is how we as a society are going to evolve. This is what we need to do as a collective.
Yes.
And whoever's in doesn't matter. Left, right, center, left doesn't matter. We agreed here together as a collective, as a country, we would do this together.
Yeah, and something of that ilk is needed. Decisions need to be made. Actions need to be. It doesn't seem to be a shortage of cash. Doesn't seem to be a shortage of will, but there certainly seems to be a shortage of actually boots on the ground.